So the normal registration flow is done, where user comes in, fills the form, his details get saved to our database. So now let's see the registration. So user comes up, fill the form, we store the data in our database. This part is done. So now let's do the verification code, email sent. So let me go to VS Code. So before this step, we just need to, I will remove this. We just need to call the OTP service, and then let me show you the OTP service also. So this is the OTP service. Currently there is nothing. Let me initialize it. This dot OTP service equal to new OTP service, and this dot OTP is OTP service, and we also will make it private. Then this dot OTP service, this dot OTP service dot send OTP email. We will be creating this method inside the OTP service. So let me just paste the code. So this is the code. Let me import everything first. So this is the from email, which you can fill accordingly. And then we need to, let me fix this one, generic error. Then we need to also implement OTP creation, which is just a normal function that will create an OTP. So this is a kind of helper function, you can say. So we'll be using the crypto, like the crypto library which comes from the node itself, pre-built library inside node. So this is our sending OTP. Like when we call this service method send OTP email, it first generates a new OTP. Then this calls the method to send the email. Here we have subject and all the node mailer setup. Then this dot mail service is a node mailer service which just have a method for sending email. Let me show you this also. So in this we are just preparing request. Then we are calling the mailer dot send mail. This mailer is coming from node mailer, which we create the transport giving in few configurations. And then we send the response of mail mapper, where we send the message ID. If someone need to use, they will use it. So this is what, like, this line basically sends the email. This is the options that we provide to it, and this is the preparation of it. Then we send the success mapper, like we return the success mapper with true, like everything has been sent. If there is any error in the process, we update the generic error and then return that. So basically our send OTP email will take an email, and in return it can give success display model or generic error. After sending the email, we are saving the OTP in a document. Let me show you how this document look like to OTP model. Let me show you the OTP model also once. So in this we have email, OTP, is the OTP verified, like is the OTP have been used, and we have an expire set. Then we are calling a like we are creating a object using mapper in which we are setting the expire set. This is coming from env, the expiry time. It is recommended around 5 to 10 minutes as per your requirement. Then we have a document reference. We just call the save method. Our document will be saved in the database, and then we send the success mapper true response, which is basically it is successful, like sending email have been successful. The flow will come here and it will return the success mapper to display, which we do not need as this method is also returning it. We can just return await. And with this piece of code, we have enabled OTP sending. Like user is created, user is saved, we create a OTP, we send the email to the method method prepares the email payload and then calls the API to send the email and give us back the response, which is a success mapper, which is basically success true or false, or we get a generic error which we will return anyway. So this function can also return a generic error or success display model. So after this piece of code, once we hit the email, it will once we hit the register route, It will create a user, save it, and send the OTP via email. So let's get back to our diagram. So what has been done is verification code sent. Currently it is in synchronous. We can make it async by setting up job queue or something like that, or spawning a worker, or we can use any other thing, or we can just not await it, but we will expect that the mail will be sent and will show a optimistic success message. So after this, user will enters the code and we will check the code and give him the access. So let's see how we can create the verify route. Let's get back to VS Code. So in this, we need to create a route which will come under auth. We just have a register route. We need a verify email route. Let me copy the code which I have already written. So this is the route. This is the Swagger specs. We basically takes the email and the OTP in the body, and then on depending on the verification, we send a 200 response like it is successful or not, and we send a or display model. Let me show you the or display model first. Okay, let me first tell you what is going on. We have a DTO, like a register DTO. We have a verify email DTO where it is taking an email and OTP, and this is the middleware used to throw the error if this body is not correct. Then we are calling a callback which is present in the auth controller named in a method named as verify registration. Let's create this method. I will go to auth controller. I will just create this method. What this method will do is basically verifying the email and then sending in the response of register, which is basically success token, like the access token or the refresh token, whatever your application handles. So in the controller method, we are calling a service method, which is register user verification method. Then checking if it is an error. If it is an error, we are just returning the error. If it is not an error, we are taking the access token and refresh token from the result that we get from the service method, and then setting up the cookies, which is required for authentication. So let's create a register user verification under auth service. I will again copy paste the code. So we call a method register user verification. So in this method, we are taking in the DTO, which is basically email and OTP. We extract the email from the object. We check if the user already exists, like if user even exists in our record or not. If user does not exist, we simply throw an error, user not found, and return the error. If the status of user is verified, like there are three status of user: active, blocked, or verified. If the user is already verified, we throw an error, user already verified. If user is not verified, we call a method of OTP service, which is verify OTP, which basically takes email and OTP and checks in the OTP document, which is in MongoDB, and checks the expiry and everything and return true or false. So if it is an instance of generic error, we return the response, which is basically error. If everything is fine, we update the user status with verified. and then send in the ID. This is not required now. I will explain it in my upcoming videos. Then we call the save method, and then we generate few tokens, which is access token and refresh token, and then just return the tokens with using auth mapper. Let me show you the auth mapper also. It is basically having access token, refresh token, expire in, like all the parameters that overflow return should have, response of overflow should have. If there is any error, we are again returning the error. So let's go to the diagram and see what we have done right now. Verification code was sent. User enters the code, which is basically hits another API, which takes in email and OTP. We verify the code. If the code is okay, like if we verify it, user gets verified, user status gets changed in the database. Let's move to VS Code. So we need a method to verify the OTP. I will again paste the code here. So this is the verify OTP method, which takes in the verify OTP DTO, which again extract the email and OTP from it. We again find the user. If we do not find the user, we throw an error, user not found. Then we check the OTP record, which is the latest record, like sort by created at. If the record is not found, we throw an error, like it is an invalid OTP. If everything is okay, we update the record of OTP and set this verified flag to true. And then we call the save method of OTP record, generating few tokens, which this is currently not required. I will explain you in the upcoming videos. So I will remove this piece of code. I will remove this piece of code and we will return a success mapper response. Success display model dot to display. Success display mapper. Success mapper dot to display with true, and it is verified. With to display true and verified. And also return the success display model. So what this piece of code does is it basically checks the OTP record in our MongoDB. If we found the record, we update the record with setting is verified to true, and then send the success response. If there is any error, we send the generic error. So now we got the verification response. If there is any error, we return the error, else we set the user status. So now we have done this complete flow. Like this branching out is left, which I guess you can do it yourself. I don't think so I need to tell this. This is just a edge case which you can handle yourself. So let's try to execute our code. I will go to Swagger. I will just restart the server once. Okay, I have not saved the routes file. That's why it was not visible here. I will just refresh it. So we got another route, which is API auth verify email. Then there is all display model is not there, which we will see later. Like Swagger is complaining like display model is not found. Let me fix it also. Wait, just give me a minute. So I paste a Swagger comment inside the routes file. And if I just hit refresh, we get this. Our response model has been mapped. So let's try to register with the email. Let me open Mailinator. And let me just open test@mailinator.com. Okay, let me do one thing. Just let me add some random. So I go to Swagger Explorer, paste the email, Mailinator, and this is the password. This is the first name, last name. I hit on execute. It will take some time because it is sending the mail synchronously. I just copied it, go to verify email, and paste the email also and the OTP. Let me copy the email again. And now let's try to execute it. We got everything, access token and everything. So let me show you the MongoDB also once. So this is the OTP document that we just have. We set this verified as true. So in this, the status is set as verified. That means our code has been working very fine. Let me show you how I'm encrypting the password, like handling password encryption. So for that, let's move to the VS Code. I'm in my VS Code. There you can see I have a user schema, like a user model. Then I have few methods defined on the schema itself. Then I have a trigger, which is a pre on save of a document. So whenever a user document is being saved, I check whether it is modified password or not, like the password is being updated or not. If the password is updated, then I await the hash password. Like I call this function. What this function does is, it is basically a method on the schema. It basically creates a salt from the decrypt library. Then it set the password with using decrypt.hash function. So in this line, the password which is being updated gets hashed at the same time. And then we call the next method, which is basically next callback. If we are not updated the password, we are again returning next method. So now our user have been verified. So now we need to protect the routes from the user data not verified, and from the user data verified, we need to give them access. So for that, we need to find a way, like a good way to allow user to access or to deny the access. So for that purpose, we are using middleware. We have a auth.middleware setup. So if I just open it, this is basically a async function, which is taking the token that is present in the header. If the token is not present, we are throwing an error. We are decoding the token using JWT library. We are finding the user. If we do not find the user, we return an error. If the user is blocked or if the user is not verified, we throw different errors. So this piece of code checks if the user status is verified or not. If it is not verified, then it throws the error of user not verified. And it basically does not allow the next callback to be called. If the user is authenticated or if the user is verified, it allows the access. So let me show you how we can add it on any route. So let's try to create a route in auth itself. So middleware we have created. Let's see how we can add it. So I'm just adding a get route to just test it out. I will name it testing middleware, calling the auth middleware, and then basically I'm inlining this. This is just for test purpose. I will just remove it and let me test.json. I take in request and response. It is a type of request coming from Express. and response is also from Express. So then press.json working object. The response was not being imported from Express library. I just imported it, and let's try to hit the API. Let's add it in our Swagger. For that, I will be copying this itself. I will change the required things like this is a get route. I won't provide us somebody. I do not need any request body. I also do not need any responses and all. I just need to check. So I hit save. Let us move to the browser. Let's hit it again. So we see a route. Let's try it out on clicking. So apparently we need to add some request body response to it. So for now I will be just adding response. Let's see if it works or not. I hit on try it out, then clicking on execute, it gives me error. So apparently you need to give a response body or something to make it work. Let's try to add a token. So I will add anything and let's try to execute it. It gives me invalid token, which is the right error. So our middleware is working for unauthenticated users. Let's try to see if it is working for verified and unverified users or not. For that, we will again I will be creating a user. I just verified the user. I got the access token. I just copied it. Let me log out and then log in and just see on clicking on execute, it is working. Now I will go to MongoDB and will update this verified. So I am in this document. I will update the status to, let's say, let me check what all statuses are there. Let's make it active. Let me go to Chrome. Let's try to hit. So we got error, user is not verified, which is the right error. So this way you can protect your APIs from unauthenticated accesses, or you can make your route secure.